Okay, Dr. Olowokere, another challenge that we may have to face has to do with the fiscal deficit. You try to talk about that in your introduction, but I just want us to shed more light into it. We're seeing our debt rising both locally and internationally. Although we've gone to raise Euro bonds, Nigeria's been selling bonds in the international market, but with this issue coming to show itself, stare us in the face, what impact would that have on our deficit?
Decline oil prices implies that you have less money. Then if you have less money, you probably have to spend less or you have to borrow. And if you don't decide, if you don't want to cut your spending, then you have to increase your borrowing. And your borrowing can be done domestically or internationally. If it's done domestically, you probably cut out private investment because government wants to borrow at a higher rate than what private persons can pay. So deficits, some have said is not bad because you don't have money now, you have to spend money, you have to borrow. But some have said, okay, because you are going to be cutting out a lot of private investment, may be bad for the economy. And also, you may also go and borrow outside the economy, which is international. Then whatever happens to the exchange rate, you have to face the music later because you have to pay the depreciation rate and things like that. So deficits is a good thing if it's very low, but if it's getting high, it can be very bad.
But the challenge is that it may increase owing to this
given
the slide in oil prices.
Yeah, given what we have there, it can increase from about 1% to about 3.4% because we've had about 20% decline in oil prices in the last 3 or 4 months. So lower oil prices will lead to lower revenue and higher deficits of the government. And there's this tendency to also borrow more because you have just rebased your GDP. By the time you look at your deficit as a ratio of GDP, it's going to be very low. So you may want to borrow more. But government has to be very careful.
To borrow more, the borrowing to, to make it proportionate to your status as a big economy?
Yeah.
Is that the essence of the borrowing? You have to increase it?
Yeah, but borrowing is like, some have said, okay, 5%, 10%. So we are still about 1% and moving towards 3% now. So we're not still doing badly, but we should be careful not to overspend it.
Whichever way, I think Nigeria has been able to pay back its debts, its loans that it borrows, or the bonds that it actually, try to auction. It pays back the yields, regardless of whatever factor they want to show.
Paying back is good. Another thing is that what is the opportunity cost of those debts? You have to pay back at the cost of lower infrastructural development, lower investment in other sectors of the economy, and this money are not free. So you are paying back the principal as well as the interest rate. And if it's international, whatever happens to the exchange rate, you're also going to pay something on that.
No, Damila, we're always told whenever the government is raising bonds that it's meant to finance capital projects, infrastructure development and all of that. But we still have a lot of infrastructure deficit in the country. Do you think that this money has been channeled to achieving the growth or the development of our infrastructure to make living life easier for Nigerians?
Well, that just raises the question of what the government is using the funds to do, because everywhere you go to, you see bad roads, you see poor water supply, you see poor power and all that. So what exactly is the government using the funds for? And like you said, there's a cost for borrowing. So if you don't use those funds on capital projects that will yield positive returns and that will be productive, then your opportunity cost is very high. So it's saddening to see what is happening, but hopefully, well, like you said, the government will keep paying back its yield, but obviously, hopefully, it does it on infrastructure and real production that will yield positive results.
I'd like to look at the fact that why are oil prices falling? A lot of factors have been given for that, and I think that we need to really pay very close attention to why are they falling. One of the reasons, according to the dailies, international dailies, is that the shale oil discovery in the U.S. is one factor that has made the U.S. not to demand for much oil from its partners, its business partners like Nigeria. And we're also seeing that oil in the U.S. is now being produced at a larger scale. Dr. Olowokere, what do you think we can do in Nigeria? The shocks will come, and we need to keep ourselves, we need to prepare ourselves, creating the buffers to be able to, absorb the shocks and also keep the economy going.
Yeah, the shocks will come, whether delayed or later. Or now, the shocks will come. And I think there are 3 things to do, and we can say the short term, medium term, and then the long term. In the short term, we have our external reserve to rely on, although that's very low now. But one of the essence why you keep external reserve is that it's a saving. Another thing is this excess crude fund, which is the security fund that we have. We have to put less there and then draw on some of this reserve that we have. That's short run. That can go on for a long time. In the medium term, you have to do something about your exchange rate, because when you have less money or less dollar and people are demanding for the dollar, the money market is very liquid and we don't produce much, such that we don't export much and we are still importing. Something has to be done about the exchange rate in the medium term. Probably you have to widen the band, or you have to devalue the currency a bit in order to solve that problem, because you don't want to go into balance of payment deficit. The long-term solution for every economy is to expand your export base. You have to diversify the economy. You can't do this short-term, medium-term always. You have to, while doing them, you have to plan about, okay, what will happen in the next 5 years? What can we export such that our revenue or our foreign exchange can be 50-50 or 70-30 from non-oil to oil. So it's important we increase our export base in the long term for us to solve this problem permanently, or we are always susceptible to any external shock to a single commodity that we export.
Okay, I'd like us to take a breather. We'll come back to this conversation when we return from the break. We've been talking to Dr. Afolabi Oluwokere and Damilola Akimbami. Both are economists from the Financial Derivatives Company Limited. Well, we're taking a look at the Nigerian economy for the month of September. How have we fared? We'll be right back.